1 Corinthians 13. I speak though with tongues of men and of angels, and I have not charity, I am become as sounding brass, or as a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy, and understand all mysteries, and all knowledge, and though I have faith, so that I could remove mountains. Oops, I can't see that very well. There. And have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and I have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, is not proud, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. Charity never faileth, but where there be prophecies, they shall fail; where there be tongues, they shall cease; where there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when that which is perfect come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child, and I understood as a child, and though as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now I see through a glass darkly, but then face to face, knowing in part, and then I shall know even as I am known. And now abideth in faith, hope, and charity. These three, but the greatest of these is charity. When you even though that you see interestingly, he says, even though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and I may give my body to be burned. In other words, be martyred or whatever. If I have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. I think what he's trying to say is, if your heart's not in it for the right reasons, you could be giving to the poor, you could be giving all your needs to the poor, but that could be, you could easily be like, hey, look at me, I gave all my goods to the poor, that makes me a good person, everyone look at me for being a good person, I did good things, look at what I did for the Lord, aren't I a good person? And if your heart's not right, if you're not like, Lord, I'm giving to the poor because it's what I felt led in the Spirit to do, or it's what you commanded me to do in some cases. You told me to give to the poor, Lord, and so I did, because your gospel teaches that we sell all we have and give to the poor, Lord, and to be perfect or whatever. That's just an example. That's the correct mind. That's the correct state of your heart. A bad example would be, hey, you know what? I give to the poor. That makes me a good person. So therefore, I go to heaven because I'm a good person because I did works. So therefore, there's no way that he can throw me in hell because look at all the good I've done. He would be an unjust God if he threw me in hell after doing all these good things. That's works-based salvation, because you think you can buy your way into heaven by doing good works instead of having the faith and trusting that Jesus died for you. It's a big difference. Does not behave itself, is not puffed up. There's so many Christians that I see that act like they're better than other Christians, or act like they're the cat's meow, or act like because they've done so many good works that therefore, they have a better a better opinion in some. They have a better say in something than someone that doesn't. Let's say baby Christians, so they won't listen to them, or they won't let them speak, or they won't accredit anything they say because they think that they're above them, and that's unfortunate. It does not behave itself unseemly. In other words, you're not making a bad example of other Christians. You're not making a bad example of Christ. You're not behaving rudely. You're not doing things that are unbecoming of whatever. Seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked. You know how many Christians, so-called, that I come online that are easily provoked by a little confrontation and a little questioning, and I tell them to get right and humble their heart. Let me tell you, they're easily provoked, and thinketh no evil. Rejoice not in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Beareth all things, believe all things, hope all things, endure all things. So when we're charitable, when charity is the generous goodwill, it's love, it's the generous goodwill, it's the general good feeling about giving, it's the general good feeling about doing things without profit, and when you feel when you feel begrudgingly, when you give begrudgingly, like let's say 10% or whatever it is, when you feel you have to give money, otherwise God's not going to accept you for who you are, then that's a real problem, because you're supposed to be a cheerful giver, not a grunting, grumbling, murmuring giver that thinks that God is going to throw you in hell unless you do it. So you do it because you feel that you have to do it, rather than you're willing to do it and be like, Jesus, I give out of my abundance gladly, Lord, because I want to help other people or whatever. That's just an example. If you don't have the money, then don't go broke or don't go into bankruptcy to help someone else, especially if you have a family, because then you're not taking care of your family, and God says that you're worse than an infidel if you forsake your family in favor of helping the poor. Then that would be really bad. For an example, like let's say you spend more than you have, you rack up credit card debt, and you help the poor, fully knowing that's wrong. I mean, we all make mistakes, but I'm saying like that would be a pretty good example of not taking care of your family, because you put your own family at risk and in debt of being on the streets to help other families. That would be an inappropriate use. That would be an inappropriate charitable giving. That would be giving what you don't have, giving, putting yourself in debt to help others, as opposed to sustaining your own family. I mean, as always, pray over everything, every good work that you do, as should always be led by the Holy Spirit. You should feel the need to do it, or maybe God told you to do it if you have a prophetic voice, or there are many ways. But I'm saying, so with that, you guys take care. Just keep spreading seeds of love and positivity, and bringing people to Christ, rather than all the dogmatic, false terror Christians that are just instilling fear. They're just instilling fear and doubt and unbelief in many would-be Christians or baby Christians, because their focus seems to be on them and how great they are and how right they seem to think they have it, rather than focusing on the kingdom and expanding it. And they like to say that they're doing a good work for the Lord by going out and exposing other YouTube channels or whatever, which by itself that might be true if they were actually called to do that. But I noticed that they don't actually bring other people to Christ. All they do is focus solely on that. So that's an example of someone that might be, not necessarily, but might be a terror, might not actually be a Christian. They just think they're a Christian, and they don't actually have the Holy Spirit. They have an imitation spirit, possibly. Not always, but possibly. And so just be careful who you listen to, because, I mean, the fruits are manifest. If they're doing nothing but belittling other people and claiming that those other people aren't right with God, when they themselves don't outwardly appear to be furthering the kingdom themselves in any way, just warning a bunch of people and instilling fear and doubt and confusion into people, and they're not clear with their message, and they leave you more confused and fearful than clarity. They're just saying, watch out. They're like this. They're like, hey, you know what? This guy's bad. This guy's bad. These are all the bad things to watch out for. Good luck. They're not like, hey, I'm going to give you some direct examples, and I'm going to, and it's just like, they don't explain it very well, and they leave you more confused than anything, because they didn't solidly back it up. So, I mean, that's just an example. But, so be loving, be caring, do the works that the Holy Spirit leads you to do. It should come natural. If you honestly have the Holy Spirit inside of you, doing good works should come natural. So with that, I'll let you go. You guys have a good one.